little scary. So the first thing I'm going to do is I have my gloves on, I have my breathing mask on, and I am going to open up some of my powder dyes, and I'm going to prepare the stock before I continue with my dyeing process. So what I do to mix my colours is I've got a wet towel down here. I pop the lid face down on there to catch any of the dust particles from the dye. I measure out the powder. Pop the lid back on straight away. And then with a little bit of water that I have in the bottom here, just use it to mix the dye into a paste first, so that the particles all mix together and the lumps all come out. If you don't mix your dye properly, two things can happen. Number one is that you end up, the colour won't be consistent from batch to batch, but then also you'll end up with bits of dye particle that actually won't dissolve properly. I'm just going to add a little bit more boiling water. What I'm going to do is melt and combine the dye powders. Just a little bit still sticking around the sides, so I'm just bringing that into the water. Then I should be able to finish it off by adding my usual amount of water to get the strength of the colour that I like. Now, the manufacturer says a specific strength for each colour for the ideal results. I kind of do my own thing, and I think that's what makes dyeing a little bit interesting, because I can intensify or lighten my colours by diluting the powders to different strengths. But what I tend to do generally is keep it at the same strength across every single colour. Then I'll pop it into my squeeze bottle. Put it down. That one will be ready to use. Now I have not taken my mask off yet, because I still have towel here with dye pigments on it. So I will fold that up. That's now safe. All the lids are back on the dye bottles. We'll rinse. And I think now all of my dyes are ready to begin this colour. For this particular colourway, I am today using my gumboot sock, which is an 80% merino, 20% nylon in a superwash. I'm going to give it a little squeeze before. This is just soaking in plain water. I'm going to bring it out. I'm going to unwind each skein. I'm going to roll it up into like a snail kind of shape. Roll it around on itself so that each part of the skein is showing. We'll end up with 4 of these in the pan, all rolled up. So I've got my 4 skeins now as little snails in the pot. I'm going to add some water and some vinegar to this, probably so that about the bottom third or so of each of the skein is in the water. is I've already mixed all of my colours in 2 jars to make it easier to pour the dye over the top of each of my snails of yarn. So I've got some mixed up red here, and then I've got a mixed up green, and then this is a mixed up black, and then this is a different mixed up red here, which is going to be speckled on using a toothbrush. So each of these jars have vinegar in them already, and what I'm going to do is pour them over different sections of the yarn to create the colour. The first colour I'm going to do is I'm going to do green in the centre of each, eyeballing between the 4 skeins how much I'm going to put on for each one, just distributing it out, letting it soak in a little bit, and then going back and popping a little bit more on. And what I'll do is I will do this on this side, and then I will flip it over and do it again, so then I can sort of make sure that there's some evenness across each of the skeins. So that's the first colour done. Next is this black. This is going to be a test because I don't know how dark this is going to turn out. So I need to be quite gentle with it, but also enough so that it will show. So let's just tip the first bit off. Dripping green on the bottom. That's why I've got everything sitting in another pan here so that it doesn't drip. So this red is going to go around the outside. Alright, so that's the first go. That's what they look like. That red is coming out much more orange on screen than it actually is in real life. It is more of a Santa Claus red. So as that develops, we can take another look. Just going to leave that to sit for a minute, and then I'm going to flip it, and I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Okay, they're ready to flip. What I'm going to do is just rotate them around like that, keeping everything hopefully together so that then as I put the new colours on, it should be in roughly the same spots. Okay, so I'm going to repeat the process and then I'll show you the next step. Alright, there's the second side. All done, the same as the first. Just going to let that set for a little bit, and then I'm going to do the final touches to the rest of it to hopefully get the result that I'm after. Okay, so I have taken the skeins out of their original dye bath and I've uncurled them, and this is the result. So I've got red splotches, and there's red coming through on both sides. I've got the black, I've got the green, and more black. Now I was going to use this colour back here that I've already mixed and splatter that onto the white spots and over the top of the other colours. But having looked at this, I actually really like how it's turned out. So I think rather than go too far and maybe take it over the edge and make it so that it's a bit muddied, I'm going to set this and see what it looks like. So what I'm going to do is grab this big pot, put some vinegar and water in it, bring this up to a warm temperature, pop the unfilled skeins into there and let them steam and set. Okay, so the yarn has been sitting for a while, steaming in the pot, and now I've popped it into some clean, fresh water with a little bit of shampoo to wash out any excess dye and to make sure that everything is set. And then it'll be ready for hanging and drying so I can see the final result. Okay, so it's been sitting for a while. Just gonna have a look. It doesn't appear to be any colour at all coming off. So what I do, I grab each skein, just let it drip for a little bit, and I pop it into a laundry bag. Now I only do this with my superwash yarn. Any of my non-superwash, I just carefully wring out and I wrap it in a towel to get any excess water off, and then just have to hang that to dry like that. With superwash, I tend to pop it in the washing machine just on a gentle spin cycle, not a rinse, just a spin. And what this does is just starts that drying process and means that it's not dripping wet like this when I go to hang it out.